I'm Gary.
And I'm Tyler.
We are from All Consuming Podcast.
And this is the KingdomCore Podcast.
So thank you guys for coming on. We appreciate it. We've been looking forward to this episode all week.
Heck yeah, man.
Us too.
So for those listening, they heard you guys introduce yourselves in the intro, but how about you guys introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what the All Consuming Podcast is, and everything about that.
Sweet. Gary, you want to go first?
Yeah. I knew you'd make me do it. All right. So what is All Consuming Podcast? So we kind of been listening to podcasts, and we've been hanging out and talking about Christian metal and stuff, and there was just a drive or something. I think I was listening to labeled podcasts, and I was like, I could totally do this with Tyler. And I think I had my wife text him on the drive and text Tyler and be like, you up for it? Should we do a podcast? But really it's changed some throughout the year and a half.
Yeah.
But the heart of it is that we talk about our favorite bands, our favorite albums, and our favorite shows that we've been to in the Christian heavy music scene. We don't really interview bands, though we did it once, and that was a pretty fun one.
That was a great episode, by the way. Who do you guys interview?
That was the Idle Threat, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we interviewed Idle Threat.
Yep.
I think that was the first one I listened to.
Yeah. But Tyler, do you have things to add?
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, Gary liked to just be like a little nonchalant about it, but this is how it really started. Okay, like,
oh boy,
we would we would end up like being at each other's house, whatever. Like, I'd spend the night at Gary's house. He's a few hours away from us, and so we'd go visit him, and like we'd have conversations until like 4 a.m. Literally, just him showing me new music, right, or us reminiscing about like the music that we like loved in college and stuff. And it turned into this thing to where Gary was like, "Yeah, we should totally do this podcast," and his wife Jen did like texts. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we do a podcast every time we hang out. How awesome would it be? Right? Like, let's just record this conversation and see if people want to listen to it. And we just, assumed that it would just be our wives listening to it at first, just supporting us. Like, you guys are great. You guys are awesome.
It was wonderful, dear. It was great.
Yeah. But eventually, we've met so many awesome people, like including you guys through this, and done some awesome stuff. And so, a year and a half we've done this, and we don't see it stopping anytime soon, man. We just love this scene and love talking about our faith and music, man. It's just awesome.
Heck yeah. Sick. I love that. And how did you guys meet each other?
Oh, you stole my question, Sean.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead and ask it, Chris. Go ahead.
How did you guys meet each other?
Thanks for asking your question, Chris.
Yeah.
So we actually met at a church ministry on campus at college. We're both from Washington, but I was from Yakima and he was from the Tri-Cities. And he was involved in, I think, the worship team, and my roommates were on the worship team. And they were like, "Oh, Tyler likes the same music as you. You guys should hang out." And we're like, "Was this a blind date?" Like, so we I don't know, avoided each other accidentally or something. And then there was I don't know, some game night at someone's house or something. And he was there, and I'm like, "You're Tyler. I've heard so much about you."
And you're Gary, and I've heard a lot about you too. It was a little awkward at first.
Kind of. Yeah,
but then eventually, and Gary, I think he was kind of the pursuer. That sounds weird. He was like, he was the one that took the step.
Guys, so Valentine's Day was last month. Okay.
So this is like a movie moment. Like, I'm walking home from class, right? And Gary must have seen me. Okay. And he's in his
slow
Jeep.
motion.
Slow motion stalking.
He rolls his Jeep over, rolls his window down. And he's like, "Hey, you want to ride?"
August and I'm like, playing in the background.
Close. You're really close. I was like, sure. So I got in, and he has it blasting, and it's "Haste the Day."
Oh, heck
okay. Yeah. And I think
Burning
it was
Bridges.
Walk On.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Is that your guys' song? That's your song?
And it's our band. It's like Haste the Day is now our band, because I was like, no way, bro. Are you listening to Haste the Day? He's like, "You know Haste the Day?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And from that moment on, it was like, okay, we're good. and we became like best buds.
That's a stepbrothers moment. Did we just become best
It
friends?
It was. Yep. Like he could have, I don't know, he could have like taken me away. He could have, taken me to a different. I didn't even know him. Man.
Taking you to dinner.
I just got in his car. Barely even knew him. Yeah, but it ended up being okay, and it's pretty awesome, man. Yeah.
You want to come to my house and watch music videos?
Yep. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, that sounds so fun. I feel like Sean and I have kind of become that, even though we met online. It's a little
true. We've never met in person.
Hey.
No.
Hey, people meet online all the time now, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2022.
Oh, my goodness.
You rolled your virtual window down for him?
Yes.
Yeah. Invited him into my chat room.
Slid into the DMs.
Now, what's your guys' so our band's Haste Today. We went and like that's where we first like met through Haste Today.
Uh-huh.
We went and saw them on their farewell tour together. Like, what's your guys' like band together?
Do we have a band together?
I don't think it's a band. I think it's a label.
Oh, it's definitely a label. Definitely Face Down.
Yeah, we really connected over Face Down.
Definitely.
Records, like just as a whole.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even I don't think nobody has pointed it out yet, but I like maybe we'll spill the beans. The way we title our episodes is an homage to Face Down Records. We do how they do their catalog numbers, 3 digits, like.
Oh, is that why we do that?
That's why we do that. Come on, you didn't even know. I guess
I just thought it was cool. Hey, that makes sense.
No, I've been doing that the whole time. I mean, it's because I have like the whole collection, like on almost everything on CD, and so I'm like, I have it all done by numbers, and I'm like, I like the way they format their numbers, so I'm like, that's how we're gonna do it.
You better not get to the 4 digits.
Oh
yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get to. We'll stop at 999.
Gosh.
We'll just stop. Be like
that's what we've been thinking that too. Like, so when we get older, like, are we still going to be doing like talking about these metalcore bands when we're like 60 years old? Is that like what we're going to do?
Yes.
Yes.
It'll turn into like if you keep going that long, you guys are going to turn into the whole like deconstructionist, like, but deconstruction like for the scene. You're like, oh, these bands that we liked all back, they're not that great anymore. I'll take this song out and I'll take that song.
Yeah. So we went to we've seen August Burns Red together a lot, and a couple years ago before the pandemic we saw them and they were selling kids merchandise at their merch booth, and so we each have kids and we each bought like a shirt for our kids, an August Burns
dope.
Red consolation shirt. And and like we're like, dude, that's what it is. Like, we're getting older, the bands are getting older, and now like you used to have, obviously there was no kid stuff, and now there's kid stuff. So we have like a name for these bands as we're getting older with them. We call it Dadcore, right? There's a few like ways bands are like Dadcore. You'll see kids merch, like that's number one. They tend to partner with like breweries and have their own IPAs. Stuff like that, right? And so we've kind of like termed it. We're like, hey, they're getting older, their fans are getting older. You look in the pit and they have gray hair next to you, and you just like look at each other and you're like, yeah, we're the same. We grew up in Christcore era,
Yeah.
And so
Emery is another one. They have they had baby onesies that said, I'm named after some stupid band my parents liked. all of their fans named their kids Emery.
Yeah.
I've heard of, at least online in my circles, even one of my relatives named their kid Emery, but I don't think she named their child Emery for that reason, but I thought it.
My wife wouldn't
probably
let me.
named after the cloth.
Yes. My wife, I told her, I was like, our first kid, I was like, what would be a great girl name? Emery. And she knows I love Emery. And she's like, yeah, how about you get the next one? You can name the next one. I'm going to name this one, right? And then the next one comes, and it's a boy. I'm like, what would be a good boy name? Emery.
All right, I'm going to find out right now.
I don't know about that one.
Hey, babe. What do you think of the name Emery as a baby name?
No, I like that one.
You like it? Is that going on the short list? Okay. She says it's going on the short list.
Whoa.
Yes. Is this a pregnancy announcement?
What about What about the name Anne Berlin?
Okay,
Ooh.
I have been trying to get my wife to let me name our daughter Anne Berlin, assuming we have a daughter.
What about
But
Amberlin?
Yeah.
she won't go for it.
No,
She loves the
doesn't
band
like
as much as
Amberlin.
I do, but I don't think she wants to name our kid after a band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to do that. So it was a no-go on both. And so, we'll see what happens. But I'm not I don't think it's going to happen anymore. So I'm not like the typical Emery fan that gets to name their kid after the band.
Maybe you could get a dog, name it Emery.
Yeah. There you go. There's
I
your
don't know
solution.
how well
Consolation
that'll work
prize.
with my last name though. Emery Adam. I guess it could work.
Yeah.
Emery Adam. It actually has a nice ring to it.
You heard it here.
EA. It's in the game.
You guys think anyone is still listening at this point?
No,
That's how they
absolutely
clocked
not.
out.
They tuned it out. They tuned it out at Dadcore. They were gone.
Oh, 100%. Okay,
No,
cool.
they definitely
So-
stayed for a little while to see Gary's beard more. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
First thing that pops up on the screen is Gary. They're like, that's a nice beard. I'm staying.
I can get really close.
There we go.
Yeah, so we were at that August Burns Red show, and I saw one of my coworkers, and we've all been working from home for like 2+ years,
Mhm.
2019. So he hasn't seen me physically, just virtually. But he's like on another team at my work, and I saw him at the show, and I walked up to him, and we were on a volleyball team together, and so we just won a tournament for our work, our team. Anyway, that's not the point. Point is, I walked up to him, and he's like, "Gary, who are you?" Because before I would keep it very short, like very short, and he floored him, surprised him very much. So maybe you guys should do that for 2 years, and
Just grow it out. Gary's.
I had
I mean,
one that was like probably down to here, probably about half of what Gary's is, but it wasn't as thick and bushy. Like it, I have patches in mine. Like my cheek doesn't like to grow, so I just keep it short now. Maybe
if
one.
you ever hang out with Gary, if you ever hang out with him, we'll be going like through the Dairy Queen drive-through, and like the lady there is just like, "Oh my gosh, you have a really nice beard," right? No mention of me. Like I'm working on it too, right? Anywhere
it's okay,
I go
Tyler.
with him,
I feel you. I'm working on it as well.
come on. Anywhere he goes, he gets compliments on it, and I just can't be around him. It's just like this facial hair envy, So,
Tyler's like, "Am I invisible to you?"
am I nobody? Jeez.
I mean, the entire time when you guys were doing that best like facial hair and metal contest on your Instagram, I was like, why is Gary not on there? Like he would easily win.
That was
It
so
was
the
for
inside joke, man.
musicians.
Who ended up winning? It better have been Jeremy. Was it Jeremy?
It was.
Okay.
It was,
Good.
yeah. Mustache, baby.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Mustache.
too many people these days are way into mustaches.
Mm.
So
Says the guy
like-
with a ginormous mustache.
I think he
should
meant
shave my
just
beard.
Yeah,
mustache.
shave the beard. You can curl it.
You gotta have
That's
the
when you
whole
know you have a
thing.
real mustache. When you can curl it.
That's right.
So okay, we're super off topic, but my son loves Paw Patrol.
They already know where
Mayor
you're going with it.
Humdinger.
We don't
Mayor
have kids.
Humdinger
I'm
has
so lost.
Good. Okay. There's a bad guy. We'll call him a bad guy. He's a mayor of a bad town or whatever. And he's got this huge golden mustache, and he always like curls it and goes like this and goes, yeah. Super villain kind of sounding.
Yeah.
And I do it to my son,
Sounds like
and he just
Wario.
cracks up. Yep. I should go for the Eggman thing from Sonic.
Yes.
Yeah.
This interview's got off the rails.
Yeah,
Sure
it
has. Sure has.
All right, getting back into Christian metal. Where
What
did we
would be
leave
the
off?
best song for Sonic to run a level to in the Christian metal scene? What's like the fastest song? I don't know. It's such a random thought.
Probably the Phineas song, like "My Horses Are Many."
Ooh,
It's good. That's a good one, Gary.
I'll just
Yeah,
edit
I don't
in
know.
a Sonic animation of him running and then just clip that song.
when we reached out to Tyler and Gary for this episode, we told them we wanted to discuss each of their 3 individual most influential records throughout the course of their life. So we could start that. Tyler, let's start with you first.
This was tough, man. I mean, you'll get to Gary, but you guys broke him. You broke Gary when you asked him this question. So you'll get to him. Me not so much. It was tough, definitely. So you want me to give you all three of mine?
Let's do
you want
one
me to
from
go
each of
one?
you. Go back and forth.
Okay. So
Start
my
with number
first
3.
one.
Or did you
My
guys? Oh, we didn't tell them to rank. We didn't tell them to
Oh.
rank.
Okay. Well, yeah. The
I
first
saw
one
the
that I
fear in
got,
Tyler's eyes.
I did
Start
it
with
by
your
years.
least favorite.
This is chronological. So for me, I grew up listening to a lot of new metal and like pop punk and stuff, like secular. And got into like the Christian metalcore scene right at the end of high school in 2007. And I was actually at Warp Tour with my buddy, and we went and we saw like Coheed and Cambria and Reliant K and stuff like that, you know. And then he had this burnt CD, not even the real one, right? And he puts it in. He's like, "Dude, this is the heaviest music band you'll ever hear." And he put in Plagues by the Devil Wears Prada.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
That's a good
my
one.
mind in that moment, like listening back now, I'm like, okay, it's great, but that moment I was like, oh my gosh, like this is absolutely insane. So I played so many songs off of that all summer long, and it was like something that made me a Devil Wears Prada fan, and like definitely molded the music that I listen to now.
Nice.
Nice.
HTML rules, dude.
Yeah, HTML rules, dude. Hey John, what's your name again? Like all
Nickel
those
is
like
money too. Nichols is money.
Reptar, King of the Ozone. Oh my gosh, like
Oh,
that
that
one.
song so heavy.
All those songs, yeah, they go so hard. And still today, like I listen to it and it takes me right back to his car leaving Warp Tour, listening to that album. It's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. Is that your favorite Prada album? Probably just for
No,
nostalgia's sake.
it's not actually.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Okay.
my favorite is Dead Throne.
Nice.
Okay.
That's
okay.
what, those two are my favorite. Death Throne is my favorite, and then I would say Plagues, and then with Branches and
Roots.
Roots Above. I forget that.
I think for me it's Roots.
The upside down
Ruining
tree
my-
thing.
I think for me
Yeah.
it's Roots than Plagues. Or not Plagues, sorry.
Yeah.
Roots than Dead Throne.
Then Plagues.
Mine's probably The Act and then
Ooh.
Dead Throne.
I love The Act.
Interesting.
That's actually top 3 for me. People hate that that record. I don't get it.
And I don't get it.
I think it
Love it.
wins
So good.
for best album art out
Yeah.
of their whole discography.
Yeah,
I'll give it
I'd
that.
agree.
Yeah, Gary loves the act.
It's so good.
a lot. You know, he got me to kind of like it at first. I was like, no, right, get out of town. And now I actually really like it. He's
I was on a
persuaded me.
missions trip when they they announced the pre-orders and revealed the artwork, and I was just like,
Oh yeah,
that looks amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I had to wait like a few days to hear the first song, like till I
Yeah.
got back. But
Sweet.
you ready
So
for my next
Gary.
one? Or do you want to go Gary?
Let's go Gary.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and forth.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you guys did break me because I'm like, what does most influential even mean? What does like
Exactly.
most impact even mean? Yeah. So I'm just glad you didn't say favorite because I don't think I could do that. For me, to start with, I grew up in like a very I don't know, a Christian home, and we had rules: no secular music allowed. Right? I was not allowed to listen to the radio. If friends brought CDs over, my parents were like, "No, put those away." But luckily, my dad was really into Christian metal, and that helped a lot. So a lot of Tooth and Nail and Solid State, like early years, you know, like his favorite bands were like Stryper and Tourniquet and Bride, Bloodgood, Guardian, right? Old stuff. I don't know if any of you guys know any of
Oh,
those.
yeah.
I've listened
Oh,
to
yeah.
them all.
So yeah.
Most.
So for me, it kind of like I think the most influential would be ones that we got that really stuck out to me, like for me, and I was able to identify with, not like my dad's music kind of thing. But the first one I picked is from a super long time ago, 2002, Blindside Silence.
Such a good record.
Yeah, 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
That album.
I was
incredible.
12, about. But
I was
so
6.
I've heard of them before, and like I knew they had that like King of the Closet song because I liked their music video. where they're like in straitjackets and they're like vampires or something. Weird. But when Silence dropped, it's a totally different sound. They weren't as screamo. They were much more like, new metal, modern rock kind of stuff. But what made me really like them was that they were on Conan. And I stayed up late that night as a 12-year-old to watch Conan at like midnight with my dad. And they played Pitiful live, like, on TV in front of tons of people. And Pitiful is such a Christian song,
Mm-hmm.
Like the lines when he says, "As I hammer those nails into your beautiful hands, your nails still try to search for mine, but I look away." And when he sang that like live on TV in front of everybody, like from a kid who doesn't get to listen to secular music, I got to see like Christian rock played on live TV like this. And I was like, this is amazing. I had goosebumps the whole time. Super stoked. But, and I think that's like a core memory,
Yeah.
But it definitely got me into more of the screaming kind of vocals, because the way he would sing and then turn it into a scream. And like, yeah, his vocals just, very influential at that age. It was super awesome.
Christian's got such a iconic sounding voice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I
wonder if they're ever going to release an album.
I know, right? They had that single back in 2018?
2019?
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, this year? No. This year?
They're going to be the surprise Furnace Fest announcement.
Oh, that would be insane.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Blindside reunion and a new album coming out.
20-year silence album playthrough.
Oh,
that'd be ridiculous.
Dude. I'd buy a ticket.
They would miss a major opportunity if they don't play at one show this year with that.
Yeah.
That's crazy that they were on Conan. I'm trying to think if there are any other I can think of one Christian. Red was on Leno and Conan. I remember.
Skillet's been on something.
Oh yeah, Skillet's been on. Any other Christian rock bands been on?
POD, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure POD, yeah. Probably TFK at some point.
TFK, I was going to say. Probably in like 09.
Yeah, I think POD was like that same week, because they were both, POD and Blindside were kicking off a tour.
Oh, that's cool.
Like a world tour. And so like POD was the, headliner and Blindside was the opener. I think there's other people, Papa Roach and stuff like that.
Gosh, what a tour.
Yeah.
In 2002, that was a tour. Yeah.
So I want to start asking you guys what your favorite songs off of each record you chose are.
Oh.
Do you want me to answer mine?
Yes.
Yeah, you go, Gare.
Okay. So mine would probably be Sleepwalking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's probably my favorite.
Without thinking too much. Like, yeah. And, speaking of Wolves at the Gate from earlier.
That cover.
Yeah, their cover was really good.
Really good.
Tyler?
So from Plagues, I think my favorite is probably Reptar King of the Ozone. Like that's probably my favorite track from there. Now if we're talking Blindside, I'm gonna get some hate, man. I grew up not listening to the Christian side of things. I don't even know who Blindside was until I met Gary. I didn't even know who they were.
I thought you were about to just say you don't know who they were now.
No, of course I know who they are now, but I didn't even know who they were. I didn't hear their stuff until like 2010 or 2009. I didn't even hear any of their songs. Right? I'm like, I know who Korn is. Have you heard of Slipknot? Or whatever. Like I know these bands, but I didn't know Blindside at all. And of course I knew POD was, but like, Gary, we kind of have this thing. Gary's my Spotify. Whenever there's new music, or old music or whatever, Gary just sends it to me and I know it's going to be legit. He just sends it to me. Otherwise I'll listen to the same record or same 3 records my entire life. I know what I like and I listen to it, but Gary, he's the guy that opens me up, man.
The frustrating part is I'll send him like 10 songs and be like, check this one out. Check this one out. Oh, this one's amazing.
Yeah.
And he won't ever listen to them. And it just drives me nuts.
Yeah, maybe
he'll randomly be like, hey, have you heard this? And I'm like, dude, I sent that to you like 2 months ago.
But then, yeah, I'll do that. I'll say, man, there's this band, Idle Threat. Have you heard their stuff, dude? And he's like, you got to be kidding me. I sent you that 2 months ago.
Screenshot my text to him.
That's the worst.
Oh yeah, you did, huh? And
Yeah.
you know, and Gary does do that. Like, I wasn't the biggest Phineas fan for a while, and so Gary and a couple other guys on our Discord made me a Phineas playlist, and it literally made me one of their biggest fans. Like now, I could say that Phineas is like one of my top 10 bands.
Oh heck
And
yeah!
the song that did it was "I Am the Lion," right?
One of them. Okay.
What,
For me,
what was the
truthfully,
song that made it click?
Dream Thief.
Oh, okay.
Off of
That's a good
of
one.
Fire itself. New. Oh man, like when I heard that breakdown at the end, I was driving to Fred Meyer, it's a grocery store here in Northwest area, and I literally like just stopped what I was doing, not driving, but just like stopped, and I just like thought about this breakdown that was happening, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is one of the best breakdowns I've ever heard,
Mhm.
right? And man, that song really changed it for me.
Hmm.
So you're a
And now I
brand
go
new
back.
fan.
Yeah, within the last few
Months like since the album came out. Yeah. Whoa,
Yeah.
weeks.
no months.
Okay.
Not weeks.
Probably like, I don't know, January. I think that's when it was.
So
Because
literally two a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. Well,
Awesome.
welcome to the Phineas fan club.
I'm glad to be
The
here now.
train.
I don't think in today's scene it's possible to be part of the Christian metal scene and not like Phineas. I think that's like
That's what they told me.
it's
They
like
threatened to
not
kick
like
me
in
out.
For Today back in the day.
Yeah, they said, hey, Tyler, like if you don't change your mind, you're not welcome here anymore.
Nobody will ever listen to your podcast again.
no, they were
I
very
think I
gracious.
joked that I'd get a new host.
That is the last straw. No, if you don't like Phineas, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler's heard Phineas and like
Yeah.
random songs here and there, and like he knew like Paul Bearer and My Horses Are Many, and
Mhm.
It was
Like
like
their
an
older
inside
stuff.
joke. Anytime we were listening to it, I would say, hey, when did Phineas get good? And he'd be like, they've always been good.
Oh my gosh,
Right?
I hate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, most people do. Most people do.
Have you ever seen them live?
No, I have not. No.
Oh, they're insane.
Yeah.
They're so good.
yeah, I saw them a few years ago before COVID with a friend of mine who just got into them.
Okay.
So like 2018, we saw them with Earth Groans.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Oh, is that the tour that you went and gave them stuff, Sean?
No, that tour didn't come to California.
Okay. I
I
just
was
remember
salty
that.
about it.
California's so big.
I know.
I randomly went through
Didn't,
Earthgroan's videos, like their YouTube
Oh, yeah?
channel or whatever, and I literally clicked on a video from like 3 or 4 years ago, and it literally was Sean bringing food to Jeremy and the rest of Earthgroans
What?
in the parking lot, and I randomly clicked on this video. I'm like, I want to see an old tour video of theirs. And Sean was in
That's
it. I'm
awesome.
like, what?
That was a fun day. That was when
Yeah.
they played Chain Reaction opening for Oh Sleeper. That was a good tour.
Mm. That'd be good.
That's awesome.
All right, Tyler, what's your second most influential album of all time? I'm
So you guys actually foreshadowed this. My second one was Breaker by For Today. Most influential for me. You know, and I feel like a lot of people, especially that were into that scene, like during this time, would say that. I remember, like, when I first got it, I listened to it, and you have that spoken word that was intertwined into it, and it was just like, it floored me, you know? I remember, like, my wife was like, she was okay. Obviously, I listened to this music, but, like, she never really understood that, like, lyrically, there's some really, like, super Christian bands that are in this scene. And so I went, and it was like an actual CD. We're like talking, most people weren't streaming music at this time when it came out, right?
Mhm.
And so I went and got the pamphlet of the CD, pulled it out, looked at the lyrics, and I was like, hey, Crystal, that's my wife's name. Hey, come check this out. Like this, you need to read these lyrics right now. And like she read it, and I remember her being like, oh my goodness, these guys are so Christian, right? And then I like turned the music on, and she's like, that's what they're saying?
That's amazing.
That voice
Singing.
is saying those amazing things about our God. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Dude, I remember when that album came out, I went for a walk with my grandma and my brother and whatever. We were going around a lake. And I had my earbuds in at the time. I had my iPod. And my grandma was like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "You might not like it." She's like, "Oh, give it a shot." I'm like, "Okay." It's like very metal and lots of screaming. She's like, "Okay." I'm like, "But they're super Christian." And
That's nice, dear.
yeah, and she took an earbud and we listened to the whole album.
Wow.
And she's like, she could, some of it she couldn't understand, but most of it she could. And she was like, "This is really good." And so she's always been supportive of me making metal music and listening to metal now since that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Oh yeah, it's just so good. And like I liked For Today before. Like Portraits is one of my favorite albums too. But like this was the one where it was like lyrically, and you had the spoken word, and the music was just exactly what I was listening to and wanted to listen to during that time. And it's just so good, right? And like I just couldn't believe at that time, like how outspoken they were, you know, even hearing their stuff before. I don't know why Breaker for some reason was the switch that was like, dude, these guys are sharing the gospel with every song, right? And I've seen them live a few times, and they share the gospel with every show. You just know their mission is to share God's love and the gospel with people, the masses.
And they were really popular and successful for being so
Breaker
outspoken.
Was very popular for them.
Yeah. That's what got me into For Today, because I remember I showed Tyler, you know, when we first met, we were first seeing each other.
Oh yeah.
When you were courting.
Yeah.
Courting.
Yes. There you go. Courting. He came over and we were just like looking at a bunch of like face down music videos. And one of them was like an old For Today one. And I was like, I just don't like this. And Tyler, he didn't say anything. I'm just like, yeah, it was Agape. And I was like, I just can't get into this kind of music. I don't know why people like this, like constant screaming like this. But I remember he came over with Breaker and he was super stoked to show me. And it's like, it was one of those albums where like the first time you listen to it, you love the whole thing. You're like, this is a perfect album. I love this. Yeah. It wasn't like a first time, like there's a few songs that stick out. And then the second time you're like, I think I like more. And the third time you hear it, you're like, yeah, this is a great album. Like it was fire from the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, it was really like it's what got me into For Today. And now I can go back and listen to their older stuff and be like, I don't know why I hated it.
Yeah.
Maybe because he says, you know, ride 'em, cowboy. I mean,
dude, that's my favorite part. What song is that from?
Is it?
I don't remember.
Set Your Goals or something?
No, I think it's called. Is it called Redemption?
Redemption. No. That's what it is.
Is it Redemption?
Yeah, I think it is. I think so. That's hilarious, Gary.
I heard stories about how like people would like on tour would like walk by Maddie and yell "Ride 'em, cowboy," and it was so upsetting for him. Like he absolutely hates that so much.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Isn't that just weird? Like just the band throwing those things. We kind of talk about that. There's like things that bands say that's more like a live show thing. Like, let's go or get him going, but ride him cowboy? Like that's a little bit different.
I know. I don't think anyone's
or like
done that.
Haste the Day with Blue 42. Hut hike.
Wait, is that actually in the song?
Live version.
It's in the live version. It's in the
okay.
Haste the Day versus Haste the Day.
Right.
Yeah.
Terrible way to start.
Demon Hunter on their live in Nashville. They start off "Storm the Gates of Hell" by saying "Tonight we dine in hell." I thought that's a pretty cool opening line.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't even need to ask, but what are your guys' favorite tracks off of Breaker?
Devastator.
If it's
For
not
sure. Devastator was so earth shattering. Like, man, those bass drops and the breakdowns are just so good. But I mean, there's so many songs. Like Arm the Masses is fantastic. And gosh, I think Gary's right. Like Seraphim's awesome. Yeah. There's so many great tracks on that album. It's like it's close to what I would say is a perfect album.
So you guys aren't gonna like.
I mean, we even like We memorized all the like verse ones too.
We did.
It'd be like life, love, like
Forgiveness. We just do that again. That's what our thing was.
acceptance, forgiveness.
Oh, I love that.
There is a couple on there that's like you don't fully do in public, just because there's like it's about like stuff.
Smacking me across my face.
Yeah, like, the narrator does that part. We're done. We keep that. We kind of keep that to ourselves.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, man, it's in public. Yeah.
You guys broke Chris.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh,
Still to this day, we
But-
do it.
that's so good.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna upset
So
you guys right now and everyone listening, but Immortal is my favorite For Today record. I think that is For Today's
No
best.
It's
qualms.
really good. It's really good.
It was weird when that album came out. I was living in Saskatchewan, Sean. That was the 1 year I was in Saskatchewan.
And never
Nobody
again.
knows what I'm
I will
talking about
never
here.
go back there.
But no, like I remember downloading that album, and I was like so stoked because like Breaker was one of my new favorite albums of all time. Like at that point,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I was so disappointed the first time I listened to it. I was like, it sounds like the exact same thing. But now I don't think that I actually have really come to appreciate Immortal. Like it was always the album in the middle of their discography that I always forgot existed. And then I would plug it in. I'm like, oh, I know all these songs. All these songs are great and amazing.
Mhm.
It just didn't like, I don't know, maybe it was the cover art or something. It just wasn't, it didn't stand out to me.
The clock tower.
Tower.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this exists. But it was like, it's really good. It's a fair answer. It's probably like, maybe technically, like musically, one of their best albums.
The guest vocalists on that album are
Yeah,
so
the guest,
good.
They're
yeah,
really
each
good.
song.
So good.
So
There's
good.
Jake. Isn't there the guy from Stray from
Sonny
the Path?
Sandoval.
No, he was on Breaker.
Oh, he's on Breaker.
He's on Breaker.
Okay.
Oh, and
Yeah.
what? Tommy from Sleeping Giant.
Yeah.
Sonny
and
from POD.
Sonny from
Yeah.
POD.
Wait, which
Yeah.
song is Tommy
Yeah.
on?
On the spot. Oh my gosh. Who's got Spotify? Gary, you're my
I got
Spotify.
it. I got it. I'm not even on Spotify. I'm on my. Oh, it's not. Doesn't tell me the song. Who's on him? Hold on. Spotify.
Yeah, there's no credit. Oh, Under God.
Under God. Okay.
Under God. Yep.
I thought that was the one Jake was on. Or is Jake on Set
on
Apart?
No, Jake is on
Yeah,
Set Apart.
Set Apart.
Oh,
Yeah.
Such a good track.
Yes. Oh,
Sick. All right.
I really like. So I'll say my favorite song
Okay.
besides Devastator, if I had to pick one, would be Phoenix because it's got what's his face from Close Your Eyes.
Shane Raymond, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
good.
forgot he was on that one. Right. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, it's Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the only time he's ever been like a guest vocalist, and I feel like I wished he did more of that kind of stuff
Mhm.
because his voice is very recognizable.
For sure.
Yes.
They're getting back together, right? I'm not
I mean,
imagining
they're
that.
playing
Teasing.
one
They're
show
playing,
they've
they're playing.
announced.
Yeah.
They're probably going to play Furnace Fest.
Pray for it.
Yeah, probably Furnace Fest, and they're doing that.
So
South
What
by
Music
So
Festival? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. When they had their surprise announcement, I was like, "Come on, vinyls!"
I need
Uh,
some vinyl from them.
or a new album, or
New album
you know,
would be
but
cool.
We've seen them live, so that's off of our bucket
Lucky.
list. But I'd like to
Dude,
see
we saw them
again.
live before they even got popular. There
Did you
was
see
like
them on
5
that A
other
Day
people
to
at the
Remember
show
tour?
No.
before that.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They were the headliner.
No kidding.
Yeah, they
It
were
was
the
at a
headliner
tiny
before
bar.
that.
That's crazy,
Dude.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was absolutely nuts. Like
Hipster
there was
dads.
nobody.
With
And
big
they were
beards.
they were surprised that we knew all the lyrics to the songs.
Yeah,
No way.
Like they were like they just put the mic down at us. Like they know our lyrics, dude.
That's
yeah, we
great.
do.
yeah. We saw them in the HM magazine. Like it was like a top 10 bands that you need to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
right now. And I like just got my magazine. I almost forgot what they were called. It's been so long. But I was like, oh, I'll look them up, and I saw them on my Zune. And
You wait. You were
I
the
looked
My
them up.
brother
Zune
had a
kid.
Zune. My brother
he
had
is-
one.
You were the
Where's his
kid
Zune?
not allowed to listen to Christian or only listening to Christian music on his Zune.
Well, Zunes weren't a thing when I was that young.
Wait, Gary, were you an advocate for the Squircle?
The what?
Is that
I don't even know what that is.
The Zune's button? It was a circle and a square meshed
Oh, yeah.
together, and it was called a Squircle, I think. My brother
Okay.
was so obsessed when he got a Zune. He's like, it has a Squircle. It's the best thing. And then Zune just died a year later.
Yeah, that sucked that Zune died. But anyways, I looked them up on MySpace, going back even further, and they were like gonna play in Spokane in like 2 weeks.
Oh, that's the best.
So I like with Zune, I had their paid subscription. It was like $5 a month, and you got 10 songs a month that you got to keep, and you could stream anything. So I bought their album. I chose to, get it or whatever, and I sent it to Tyler too. And I was like, "Hey, we are gonna love these, and we're gonna go check them out live." And for 2 weeks, for 2 years after that, we listened to that album nonstop.
Yeah. Before
But
we get
anyway.
any further, I'm gonna just say my third album, because it's "We Will Overcome" by Close Your Eyes.
okay.
We're already talking about it.
Nice
So
segue.
Gary's
Might
gonna
as
do
well,
two in a
yeah.
row.
Oh,
Gary's
sorry,
gonna do two in a row.
It's all good.
You guys are
Alright.
stealing my thunder.
dude. I didn't know. He told me like 6 things he's gonna pick, and he's like, "I'll pick them the day."
Yeah.
But-
Now, okay, so "We Will Overcome," talking about "Close Your Eyes," like, I think Gary hit the nail on the head. We heard these guys, and we're like, this is the peak of what music should be for like 2
True.
years. And I don't even know like why. Maybe it was lyrical content, because definitely like a lot of "Close Your Eyes" songs were songs that like they moved you. You know, like you thought about it, and like they like, I don't know, like they make you really think, right?
Mhm.
And the music's great, and Gary and I, like, we rocked this so many times. Like, I can't even like express how much we listened to this together, right? And it's definitely what got me into kind of that hardcore scene in a sense, not necessarily the metalcore, right? But more along the lines of hardcore. So such an awesome album.
That's awesome, dude. Okay, favorite song.
Oh,
There's like Breaker.
yeah.
There's
an
one
iconic,
correct
yeah.
answer. I'm just kidding.
Well, what is it? You got to tell me.
Song for the Broken, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
This is my worship. This is my life. Whew.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that part
That
so
sums
good.
it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, The Body was also like a big one for me.
Yeah.
Just like the ideas of like, is this what the body is supposed to look like, what we're going through right now? Because it's not.
Mhm.
Like we gotta figure this out, and we gotta be better. And I don't know, every time I listened to them and when we saw them live, it's like, man, you felt inspired to just be better, right? To be better and to go, share the good news of God, and just it really felt like this community of believers, pushing each other to be better.
Mhm.
I love that. And Gary, how about you? Favorite track?
So I had to look it up real quick because I can't think of it. But it's called "Something Needs to Change."
Mm.
Love that.
So good.
That's good.
That's the one
Did
where
you-
they're like, "How much love can we give if we have no love for ourselves?"
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's such a good record.
Did
It
you
still
guys
holds
know-
up too.
Yeah,
It does. Did you guys know? We didn't know this. A dude on our Instagram called us out on it. We're like, man, in the song "The Body," there's like these screams, and it sounds like Maddie Montgomery almost. Like they're so good at making it sound like Maddie Montgomery. And we're like, oh yeah, and then this guy on our Instagram's like, well, it is Maddie Montgomery. He was
Really?
on that track.
Really?
And so we're like, okay, whatever. And we kind of confirmed it, but then Sonny, the bassist for "Close Your Eyes," actually confirmed it on our Instagram
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
that Maddie Montgomery was on it. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah," and I like looked it up, and I'm like, can't find anything on the internet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna go get my CD, and I open it up, and it's in the CD.
It's in the
It
CD.
says-
That's
Oh, really?
yeah, but it's not on Spotify. Like,
Mhm.
not so much of a hidden fact when it comes to Close Your Eyes, but I always thought it was hilarious and also clever, and it just obvious was on their third album when Shane left was Sleeping Giant featuring Tommy Green. That's like the best
The
cameo
song,
ever.
Yep. Absolutely. Wait, there's a third album?
It's one that nobody listens to.
Absolutely.
It's a different band.
It's a different band, but I think
Yeah.
it's better than most people would give it credit for because
I think
it's
so too.
Close Your Eyes. But I'm like,
I think they
it's
should
a good
have
album
rebranded.
in itself. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always hard when like a new singer comes in because all the fans have identified that sound with that vocalist. And so yeah, it's just unfortunate. If they would have said that they were a different band name or something, probably nobody would have checked them out as much.
Probably.
that's also
but
true.
There's still some
so
really
instead
good
they
songs
just get
on that album.
Yeah, they get a lot of hate for it, but
Yeah.
if you don't think of it as Close Your Eyes, it's a
so
good album.
good.
It's good.
It's so good.
Sweet. So Gary, I guess you're going number. You're doing your number 2 and your number 3 now.
All right.
Your number 2 favorite of all time.
Oof.
So this one's also still really old.
Okay.
And I feel like I picked all of these because like I was like in high school for nearly all of them. And it's because that's like the time in your life where I feel like you just go through the most changes and, finding yourself. But my second one was Dead Poetic New Medicine.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I see it on your wall behind you.
Oh, yes. Right here. So I was a freshman in high school when this came out, and my buddy, he bought it that summer, maybe the summer after, at Creation Fest. And the way he buys albums is he just looks at the album cover and goes, I like this, I buy it. That's how he bought like Becoming the Archetype stuff. And like, right, if it has a cool cover, he buys it. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't even know if you like it. He's like, doesn't matter. So anyway, he actually showed them to me. And we jammed that like in our chemistry class. There's like a lab day once a week. And they had like these, desktop computers in the back that you could put a CD in, and they actually had speakers. And so we'd actually play it like all the time. But I think what really hit me with this album, I didn't like that kind of vocals, the really high singing, because it's kind of, whiny sounding, I guess. But the way he does it, the way Brandon sings it is just like, I don't know. His voice is so unique. And the way he screamed a lot more often, like I was not into screaming at that time, but that was like palatable to me. And I enjoyed the screams, and he was such a good singer. And it really opened my eyes to like what post-hardcore would become.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
Love it all the way through. I keep telling Tyler, it's amazing. Probably one of my favorites, like top 10.
Tyler, is that one you just keep not listening to?
No. It's not that I don't like it. I just never listened to them.
Oh, gotcha.
Until later. Like, I don't know. And like New Medicines is great. Like it's definitely good. I just never got into them. And I'm sure like if I gave it like the fair shot it deserved, I'd probably love it. Cause I love post-hardcore stuff, but yeah, Gary always gives me a hard time.
And I get it. Cause like at that time you were not a Christian. You were not listening to this kind of music. And that'd be like you being like, Gary, go check out this Blink-182 album. It's so good. From 20 years ago.
Gary,
and
I can
I'd play
relate to
it,
you
and I'd be
so
like,
much. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, I heard this. It was on a movie, on the credits at a movie. Like, that's my knowledge of secular music from back then.
Yeah. 2004, I was probably listening to System of a Down or something like that.
You
know, exactly. Yeah. Well, for sure.
Sean, you hypocrite.
Yeah.
You're a sinner.
I never said I wasn't.
So yeah, favorite song for me, I want to say New Medicines, but I feel like that's everyone's answer. So I'm gonna pick the second and say Taste the Red Hands.
That's a good one.
I just love the way the drums jump in, and it's such a fast song. So yeah,
Sweet. I definitely have to check out that album more. I'm on a mid 2000s post hardcore kick right now, so I gotta give that a refresher.
Yeah, the other albums are pretty good. I think the one before that
It was
is a lot heavier.
Yeah, they were on solid state
Yeah,
for that one.
and a lot of people love that one. And then the one after is more instrumental, more melodic, and a big lineup change. So,
Right.
Sweet.
Tyler, what's your favorite song off the top of your head?
New Medicines.
That's everyone's.
Hey, New Medicines is great, man. It's good. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so tough. And like sometimes I get a little like, not gonna lie, a little jealous. Like I didn't get that like scene. And it sounds weird. Like, you're only allowed to listen to Christian music. But I was like, man, I kind of wish I listened to that Christian music growing up because I didn't at all. Like I was actually like in high school as an atheist until my first year of college. And so like I didn't listen to anything, right? And I get jealous sometimes that Gary knows all this, and listens to these bands and grew up on it. And I didn't get any of that.
Sorry, dude.
It's okay.
I'm trying to help you catch up.
You can keep showing me all these amazing bands.
Okay.
We'll
If
talk
it makes
about
you
on
feel
our
any
podcast.
better, Tyler, I was a little later to this kind of stuff. Like, I didn't get into the heavy stuff until like 2010. But I guess I knew
I
Death
was
Poetic a little
really
before
late.
I did not grow up anywhere close to this stuff. Like, I couldn't
Really?
go and see these bands except for,
Yeah.
I mean, like, close bands would have been like the bands from Kelowna, like Secret Whisper and Cry of the Afflicted. Never got to see them because I found out afterwards. But like, none of these bands ever came near me at all. I'm so far away. So, Gary, final album.
Oh, right. Tyler, you don't have a fourth one?
Dude, I can have 6
Bonus.
more if you wanted.
All right, so my last one, I picked it like probably a half hour before this.
Okay,
because it was like a tie between like 3 other bands.
Okay, what are the
But
tied
this is-
ones?
Yeah, just
So
say
the
the
ones I
tied ones.
didn't pick, the ones I didn't pick was Becoming the Archetype Dichotomy,
Ooh,
Hands Give Me Rest,
Ooh.
and Demon Hunter the Triptych.
give
Oh,
me
those
rust.
are good.
And I was
Oh,
just-
I love that.
I almost
record
just like
so
rolled
much.
a dice and like which one. But I ended up picking one from my senior year, 2007, Haste the Day, Pressure the Hinges.
Nice.
And
Good one.
my brother picked this up at the Christian bookstore. He's younger than me. Because he really liked the previous Haste the Day album, When Everything Falls. And that is what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I love the music on that, but like this constant screaming, like Jimmy Ryan's vocals were just too abrasive for me.
Mm.
Now I love it, but when this came out,
Yeah, it
my
helped
brother
you
was
two
like, "It's a
find
new."
each
yeah, yeah.
It's true.
So when Pressure the Hinges came out, it's got Stephen Keach as the new singer, and world of difference, practically different band, and I did not mind the screaming because the cleans were so understandable and catchy, and the music was just as fast and heavy. But yeah, it really helped me get into that screaming style, I guess. But not to say I mean, I listened to like Demon Hunter before that too, but I didn't love it,
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing album, amazing songs. And if I had to pick a favorite, I'll go with Chorus of Angels.
Okay.
That's mine, too.
Okay.
I was about to say that one too.
I think
Oh, okay, fine. I'll pick.
I think my favorite is Stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first Haste
Nobody
the Day
wants
song
to
I
hear
ever
you
heard.
talk. Right?
I heard that on Pandora. I think I was in like early high school or late junior high. And I had like my Red or Skillet Christian Pandora station. And because I had thumbs up some like Demon Hunter songs, Haste the Day came on.
Mhm.
Stitches came on. And I actually really liked it. And then I did what I had the same reaction you had, Gary, where I went and I listened to When Everything Falls, and I'm like, oh, this is way too heavy for me. I can't listen to this. And then like 5 years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, after I was already so far into Christian heavy music, I had completely forgotten about Haste Today. And then I went back and listened, and I'm like, what have I been doing? This band's amazing.
I gotta know what's your guys' favorite Haste Today album, because you've talked so highly of their like Burning Bridges. I have an answer in my head, but it hasn't been mentioned yet. But
All
I'm
right, Gary,
just
let's do
curious
this.
where this falls.
Me and you, same wavelength right here. 1,
We'll see.
2, 3. Attack of the Wolf King.
Attack of the Wolf.
Yes. By far.
Number 2, Burning Bridges.
Okay,
Yeah.
I could agree. Actually,
That's
I
fair.
would probably put that number 2 as well.
Yeah. My friend who I've told the story on the podcast before, my friend who introduced me to Haste Today and like metal before I was liking metal at all. He would constantly play Burning like Blue 42. And then he like Haste Today was one of his favorite bands of all time. Attack of the Wolf King comes out, he hates it, and I love it. That was the album that made me a massive fan.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I still tell him about it, and he's still like, "No, I can't do it. I hate it." But like, it's so good. Everybody
so
I talk
good.
to
So
loves
good.
it.
It
Like,
is so good.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
It's probably one of my favorite Christian metalcore records of all time. Probably.
Yeah, it's so good. The only thing is, there's a song I don't like that Tyler loves.
What song?
It's White as Snow.
you don't like that song?
What, bro?
Oh man, why does
Come
I love
on.
it, dude.
I don't know.
All right, that's it.
And usually,
Interview's done.
I'm the one that likes those, and Tyler's the one that hates them. But
Yeah.
this time,
Ugh.
Interesting.
It's such a good break
Yeah.
in the middle of the album. It like gives you a
Yes.
breather,
boom?
and then you got 3 just like it comes out of the gate with Crush Resistance, which is just so heavy. It's so good.
you know what's interesting? The drummer for that album
Giuseppe.
is also the drummer for
Probably.
the
The
act.
Yep.
On
Mhm. He is such an underrated drummer.
Giuseppe.
He is
Yeah.
insane.
Yep.
I think that album had
Sick.
correct. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. I think that album had a couple, 1 or 2 like original members of Phineas on it. Am I lying when I say that?
Yeah, they're guitarists.
Okay.
Yep. I can't remember his name. Give me a minute. I want to say
Because there's almost like a God Machine type vibe on it in terms of the guitar tone in a way.
Yeah.
And I
And
always
that
That
was
came out
kind
the
of a
next
part-
year, right?
Mhm.
Part of the click with Phineas for me too was like I told Gary, I was like, this is very Attack of the Wolf King sounding.
Mhm.
Like some of Phineas's stuff,
Mm.
right? And I think like that was part of it too. I was like, man, it's kind of like a little bit of a Haste Today influence, you know? And so I definitely can see that.
Yeah.
Scott Whalen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the lead guitarist.
He
I think
was
my-
wailing on the guitar.
He was wailing.
Wailing.
Yeah.
I think my favorite
Yeah.
track
Attack
off
of the Wolf
that
King was awesome.
is Travesty.
Oh yeah.
Same.
So good. Yeah. For me, going back to Pressure the Hinges,
Oh yes.
My
the
favorite
turning
track-
point.
my favorite track is Chorus of Angels, but like Stitches for me is a big deal. And I do remember when I first heard Stitches,
Mhm.
Gary was the one that showed it to me, just like every other music, you know, that I listen to. And he's like, 5 words, Tyler. I'm like, what? It's just 5 words. What are you talking about? And he's like, kept saying that, and he wouldn't like. I was like, what 5 words? Just listen, just listen. You'll figure it out.
I love you so
So I'm
much.
I'm trying to listen, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, you weird person. and obviously you're worth more than this, right? Like that's what it ends up saying. But I was like, dude, you could have just told me it's part of the lyrics. Just 5 words. We're like driving down the road. I'm like, what 5 words?
That's so creepy.
Just tell me. And now I do that all the time. Like with my wife, I'm like, it's 5 words. She's like, what are you talking about? It's these 5 words right here.
That's hilarious. Well, guys, yeah, give us some plugs. Where can people find you? Where can people listen to you?
Go for it, Tyler.
Yeah, so we're All Consuming Podcast, and we're on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything like that. And we do have an Instagram, so follow us. Gary is kind of like a meme king when it comes down to it. So if you want to
It's
laugh
true.
at some memes, check us out. Check
Dude,
us out.
your reels crack me up, man. They're so good.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Anything else, Gary, that I'm missing?
My name's
No?
not Gary, but go and rate All Consuming Podcast
Yeah.
5 stars on
Yes.
Apple Music and Spotify.
After
Okay,
you've rated
thank you.
us 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and we do really appreciate you guys. And I said this before. We had you guys on our Christmas special, which was really cool.
That was so fun.
Yes, go
And,
listen
like,
to that
both
if
of
you
us-
haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's really great. And both of us, Sean, like have been fans of KingdomCore before we had a podcast, right? Like we were always fans of KingdomCore and love what you guys are doing. And I told Chris this too, like your reaction videos, I love, dude. Like I got into those, and they're pretty sweet. So I remember I was just getting into Holy Name, just like who they were, and you did the reaction to the first one that came out, whatever first single it was, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. And so keep doing what you guys are doing. It's so great.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
You guys as well. Thank you.
Likewise. Yes, definitely.
That's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to and or watching the podcast. It's been a blast doing this as always, and thank you so much to Tyler and Gary for coming on. It's always a pleasure to chat with you guys. A special shout out and thanks to all of our core givers on Patreon. Aaron Peter, Jonathan Lyman, Anthony Kuchma, Tiffany Cadenhead, and Blake and Cody Andreas from the Dead Pedal Coffee Company, which we showed a little advertisement for last time out. If you guys are interested in becoming a patron, head over to patreon.com/KingdomCore podcast, and you can find all that we're doing there. It's an absolute blessing to be able to do this and have you guys support us like that. Stay tuned for another awesome episode coming up shortly.